everybody, it's Karen Valentine here, and this is going to be the fifth and final video for our Pirate Girl by Matt Davidson tutorial. So all we have left to do, unless something comes up that I missed, is the pearls and the background. So on the pearls, I did a little Google search just to look at them and refresh my brain of what they looked like. And most of the ones that looked like what I wanted to do had some gray, some cream, and some white in them. Now these are so tiny that I don't think I'm going to get a lot of detail on them, so I'm gonna go in a little bit. How's that look? How's that? We'll go with that. And I'm just gonna, I think they already look okay as they are with the white. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of gray and cream and some white Posca pen. So the colors I'm using on this are PC 140 Eggshell, 1060 20% cool gray, and a white Posca pen, and this one is 0.7 millimeter. I have one of these in every size, and they're awesome. So if you don't have those, you might want to get some. So I have no idea what I'm doing here, so we're gonna learn together. I'm gonna throw some, I'm not gonna worry about leaving highlights on them because I'm just gonna add them with the white Posca, and they're so teeny tiny that I don't think I would be able to add my color and the white and the gray. So I'm just kind of randomly putting down some of this. I think this is gonna go pretty fast. Again, these are so tiny, and to me, it's almost impossible for me to get any kind of real shading or detail or anything on them. So just, oh, see, pressed too hard on that one. I love my Prismacolors, but those points do break. Okay, so I got a little bit of gray, a little bit of cream or eggshell, and now I'm just gonna give them their little highlight with the there's really not a huge difference from what they look like now to what they looked like before I started coloring them. But I guess that's okay. Guys, I'm calling that good. I'm calling that good because I don't think that there's much more that I am capable of doing on those. So I'm going to leave them as they are. I might add just a tiny bit of shadow, even though the shadow I've been putting over on this side, it feels like it needs a teeny bit of definition. under here. And under here. Okay, I'm calling that done. I'm going to zoom out now. I raised up my camera a little bit, so hopefully we get more of the picture within the screen. And I am going to pray that I don't mess this up and use my Neocolors for the background. So Neocolor IIs are by Karan Dash. Sorry. And they are a water-soluble crayon. And they look like this. When I first bought them, I didn't like them because they're kind of an opaque milky color as opposed to what I was used to with traditional watercolors or the Inktense pencils or anything like that, where it was a very sheer transparent color. These are more opaque and milky, but I have grown to really, really like them. That is the case with several of the art supplies that I've purchased. I maybe didn't love them when I first bought them, but using them more often made me fall in love with them more. So if you bought any art supplies that you're not in love with, I would say try them again and try them on different papers, because holy cow, paper makes all the difference in the world. Especially, like I found that especially true with my Inktense pencils, which maybe we'll do a tutorial on that on another try. So here again is my handy dandy swatch chart, which I could not, it would be much harder to do what I'm doing for me without this chart. And I really like big swatches, because those little teeny tiny swatches that some people use, I can't even imagine how they can visualize what color that is. But if that works for them, that's wonderful. That does not work for me. So I am thinking, as I'm kind of looking at the colors of her and of the colors that I do have in Neocolor, I'm thinking we're going to pull out the dark green. Let's see. Can I set that down? Yes. Okay, so I'm thinking we're going to pull out the dark green, probably the emerald green. Maybe, we'll pull out the turquoise and the malachite. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them or not, but at least we'll have them out. So turquoise and malachite. This is what I store my Neocolor crayons in. It's just a plastic. I think people use them for holding jewelry supplies and stuff like that. So, but that works really well for me to hold my crayons. And if they happen to still be moist after I use them, it's easy to clean up. Okay, so dark green, emerald green, turquoise, and malachite. That's probably good, although I'm wondering if we want to bring in a brown or this raw umber, something to darken it. Or maybe I'm going to pull out the ochre just in case, and the brown. And the brown. Okay, that should be plenty to choose from. Get my water brushes. have several water brushes. I have some Arteza brushes, and I have a Pentel brush here somewhere, which I cannot find, and I think that's the one I want. Let's see what this... Okay, so that's kind of a decent small tip, but I think I want at least one that has a little bit bigger of a tip. Well, and that's also an Arteza brush, so we'll go with those. I also discovered I bought this at Walmart in the food section, and it holds my water, and it makes it so much easier to fill up my water brushes. In fact, this one is almost empty, so I'm going to fill that one up, because it stinks when you're in the middle of... I'm going to move my picture out of the way so I don't... Whoops. See, I'm getting too excited. I'm getting too excited. It stinks when you're in the middle of working and you run out of water and you brush. Now you can also use a paintbrush, a regular paintbrush, and a glass of water. But I really like using these water brushes. Okay, all dry? Yes. All right, one other hint, I guess. I save my cardstock pieces, and this is from Recollections from Michaels. It's 110 pound. I think it's 300 GM or GSM. But I love it. I've tried other cardstocks I haven't been happy with. This one takes all of my mediums really well. So this is what I use. And when I have an accident or like a mistake or whatever, I save those because it allows me to test out colors and mediums and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to just play a little bit with these colors. So I'm going to start with the darker ones. I've got malachite green and dark green, I think. Yes, dark green. And I pull the color right off the end of the crayon. I do not color on the paper and then activate, because I've never had any luck activating all of the pigment, and so you wind up with a blotchy, I wind up with a blotchy mess. So I like it much better when I can actually just pull the pigment right off the end of the crayon. And hopefully you can see that there's color on my... So that obviously is the malachite. And that is the dark green. But that's not as dark green as I would like. But maybe, I think what's happening is it's not as olivey green. So let's see what happens if we add a little bit of... See, that just makes it more interesting now, doesn't it? I think what we're going to do... I don't dislike that. I'm going to try and do, instead of coloring the entire thing, when I do this, I'm going to bleed out the color so that the color is just around her and not covering the entire page. Okay, I'm going to cross my fingers, and truly, I hope I don't mess this up. That happens every time. I'm always nervous, but it generally turns out okay. So, I'm just going to go for it. I might not do a lot of talking right now because I'm going to be concentrating really hard. So, here we go. I try not to hold my crayons and my water brush right above my picture because sometimes I do get drips and we don't want drips. So away we go and hope that I don't turn this into an absolute disaster. Now you can build these colors up, like do this and then let it dry and add more. So you don't want to, I mean, it's not watercolor paper, so you don't want to work it too much because the paper will pill if you rub it and work it too much. All right, where's my other color? Green. More green? No, see, this is not, I need some moss green. I'm gonna pull that out real quick. Olive. Nope, moss. I want moss. Light olive, raw umber, olive. Why can't I find my moss green? Oh, goodness. Okay. There it is. Okay. I think we need a little bit of yellow, there we go. A little more yellowy green in here as well. And I have a feeling I'm going to wind up coming back. Let's see where I can do this so you can see what I'm doing. Yes, needed that. Let's see how far over. There we go. Okay. Watch, I'm going to wind up filling this entire page anyway. All right, I'm going to leave that. I'm probably, oh, see, look, drip. Okay, so we'll just make use of that. But if I had been holding this over the top of her, I would have been really bummed. Can you see? I'm going to turn this because I don't want to put my arm over where I've put color on already. You see okay? Yes. Now one nice thing about doing this after you have laid down all your pencil is that because it's water based, water soluble, it doesn't really cover the pencil. It just kind of floats on top, or you can wipe it away. So that's nice. I'm looking at these now, and they are kind of sheer, so maybe just the colors that I was using before were that milky. See, I just don't know what I'm talking about all the time. Okay, let's see what that... Well, I changed my mind, and I am going to bring that color all the way up to the edge, but I am going to let it be lighter. So there's something going on here, and I think it's because the artist has already done a gray wash behind it, so I have this line here that I don't really like. But I'm going to leave it for now because I can see the paper's kind of bumpy. In fact, I probably should break out the heat gun for that, but I'm going to keep going, and we'll do the heat gun when I'm finished here. So I really wound up only using so far on this the olive green and the malachite. The other ones I didn't feel like I really needed much. We're going to let this dry. Actually, I'm going to break out the heat gun, and then I think I'm going to work this area a little bit more. So I do need to go get my heat gun. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my heat gun. It is by Darice. And it's quieter than a blow dryer. So that's why I like it. Hopefully you can hear me over the noise of the heat gun. I want to make sure that the paper is nice and dry before I mess with any more layers, because I really, really don't want the paper to get pilly, and it can get yucky if you overwork the paper too much. Oh, I got a section I gotta do there. And then sometimes I'll flip it upside down and dry it from this direction. Okay, I need to do something over here. I don't like the way it looks. So we'll go with Maybe more of this malachite. Get in here. And then I'll show you what I do once this is all dry. It does a really neat thing to the page. Maybe a little bit more dark here. I like it when the image is a little bit darker. The color around the image is a little bit darker than the outer edges. Squeeze my brush. Felt like it was getting a little dry. And I think I'll add a little bit of green because I turn it, because if I don't, my hand is going to be sitting right on top of that wet color. I don't want that. So okay, I think that looks pretty good. I still, gosh darn, I don't know what it is about that area, but maybe we can fix that with some colored pencil. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it and work on, maybe try and fix it with some colored pencil. So I'm gonna turn off the film for now, dry this really good, and I will be back. Okay, so she's all dry, nice and dry, and now I can go back on with colored pencil. So I think what I'm going to do, this is still bugging me. I don't know why, but it is. So I want to soften that line a little bit, and I'll be able to do it when I start adding the white pencil, but I also think that I want to add just a little bit of color first to break up that line. So I'm going to take my aquamarine and really, really lightly, the paper's a little bit wobbly after using the water-soluble crayons. But you can also, sometimes I put it in a book and it'll flatten it out pretty significantly if you, especially if like throw the heat on it so that it heats up the paper and then stick it in the book. Or it has to be something that has some weight on it so that it can keep it really nice and flat. Okay, so that broke up that line pretty good, I think. It's not as obvious anymore. And now I'm going to add white. I did this, I don't know, one day I was experimenting. I wanted to blend the color out and soften it and smooth it, and I added white, and I found that I really liked it. So let's do that and see what we get here. So I'm going to start over here, and in circular motions I'm just going to come in kind of in the transition areas, or the areas where it feels like there's too much of a line, like maybe right here. I'm gonna how's that? We'll try that. Hopefully you can see. So what the white pencil does is it still really blends the Neocolor pretty well, and it smooths, it kind of blurs, things. I don't know. I think I mentioned in an earlier video, I go through a lot of white pencils. But these Prismacolor white pencils are so useful for so many things. And really, in open stock, I mean, I think on, I don't know, most places you can get them for like right around $2 each. No, I think you guys will be able to see. I can definitely see the difference in here and here. It smooths and softens and blurs everything really, really beautifully, I think. Feels a little bit weird because the Neocolor throws down kind of a rough texture compared to what the colored pencil does. So as the pencil is going over that crayon, it feels kind of scratchy, but once the wax gets laid down, it feels a lot better. One thing I did learn in going through and doing this series of videos, because I've had people ask me before, like, how long did it take you to do that? And I've never really timed myself. But when doing it this way, I have a definite record of how long a piece is taking me. So that's kind of cool. Okay, I don't know if you can see right here where it looks a little bit blotchy. That's because the paper got too wet there and started to pill up a little bit. So you absolutely positively want to make sure that the paper is 100% dry before you add pencil over the top. But I think, if I remember correctly from previous pictures, once I add this colored pencil, it will all go away. Yep, smoothed it right out. I hope her being upside down doesn't bother you. There's a little bit too much white in here, so I'm gonna just really super duper lightly add some of that aquamarine, and then when I come in to blend, I'll fill in those areas that I didn't get with the pencil or with the Neocolor. Okay, am I back to where I started? Almost. Alrighty. I think I'm done. I think that looks pretty good. If you guys have any questions on anything that you've seen in these videos, please shoot me a comment and let me know. I'm going to answer every comment I get. I love hearing from you, so feel free to ask away. I'm happy to answer it if I have an answer for you. So I think she's done. Did I miss anything? I do that sometimes, trying to maybe go too fast. Nope, I think she's good. Well, thanks for hanging with me, guys. I had a wonderful time for my first experience with these tutorials. I have a whole list of things that I would love to share with you, so hopefully you will subscribe to the channel and get notifications when I post new videos. I hope you had fun. I did, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Take care.